Subject of today's live is motivation because a lot of people, a lot of men aren't living the lives they want to live, uh, are risking their health just because they're not motivated to do something about it. Poppy. This is what happened when the school kids park outside the house and they play music, the dogs bark. So the subject is motivation for losing weight, getting in shape after 40. I feel like that's a key point because my audience are typically over 40, but I feel like the reasons why men aren't motivated at that age is probably a little bit different. So let's talk about motivation, because what I'd like is more men to start reaping the benefits of being fit and healthy. So on LinkedIn and the rest of the guys, apart from you TikTok, you won't be able to see the banners. Why 40 plus men are not motivated to lose weight? I think it comes down to three reasons, and we will discuss those three reasons and what you can do about it so that at some point you can essentially fix it, get in shape, and just get on with the rest of your life. So point number one, let's get this banner up. I think the first reason why motivation is lacking for a lot of men is that they play down the severity or the consequences of the problem. What I mean by that is men typically don't see things as a problem until it's something that needs to be fixed immediately. So I will often get guys that will come to me for help that will be like, oh, the doctor has told me I have diabetes. I had someone recently join my program who's sadly his best friend died due to being overweight, and he was only in his early 40s with kids, and my now client is the same. But that's quite extreme, it's quite extreme to wait for something bad to happen in order to get the motivation to fix it. And I think for a lot of men, I'm just going to change that angle on TikTok. For a lot of men, we just pretend it's not as bad as it is. I used to, anybody that comes into my coaching program, they have to apply, they have to give me some information. We have to talk on the phone because what I want to know is, can I help them? Do they want to be helped? And then we can move forwards. One of the things I started doing about 6 months ago was probably a bit longer than that, was actually having the new people that apply to join my program actually attach a photograph of themselves. Because in the past, I was getting these guys come on the phone. They would say stuff like, things aren't too bad. I just want to lose 4 or 5 pounds. Things could be worse. I'm doing a little bit of exercise. I'm eating quite well. They'd join the program and then they'd send their start photographs to me. And I'd be like, Jesus, this guy has like 100 pounds to lose. And I realized that a lot of men over the years play problems down. You probably do it. I do it. We all do it. But until a problem is worth fixing, until the pain of being overweight is big enough, a lot of the times you can put it off. The example I used on a video recently on TikTok was the example of a man who has kids and a wife and a house who loses his job. He loses his job. This becomes a problem. Can't afford to pay the bills. You might end up homeless. You can't put food on the table. You can't be seen as a provider. You might feel like your self-worth goes down. It's highly unlikely in those circumstances that problem would be put off. It's highly unlikely that a man who loses his job, it probably does happen, but in the grand scheme, for the most part, it's probably very unlikely that somebody loses a job, a man loses his job, and then just sits around saying, I'm not motivated to fix it, because the motivation is created by the consequences that you could have. Let me turn off WhatsApp there. So the first thing you need to do is actually say to yourself, is losing weight a fucking problem? Like, what is the problem? And be truthful about what possibly could happen. If I was talking to 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, it might not be so. The problems are different. But those of you that are in your 40s and 50s, like I just said, a guy joined my program about 3 or 4 weeks ago who had been overweight for many years, family history of diabetes, successful guy, well-educated. He's a doctor. His wife's a doctor. And then what kind of pushed him over the edge was the fact that one of his friends died due to his lifestyle. It wasn't a freak accident. That was enough for him to be like, I need to fix this. The sooner you can dig up the kind of what is the pain of being overweight, like what sucks about being overweight, the sooner you will give yourself motivation. Motivation is just desire to change something. It always strikes me as odd because I'll get guys on the phone that'll be like, I don't really, I've not been motivated. And then they'll be like, we'll have a chat and they'll be like, well, it's been causing problems with my relationship. I'm not very confident in my life. My kids are overweight because they're not exercising and I'm a bad role model. I feel guilty. They have all these things that are bad, what they deem as bad about being overweight. And that is where the motivation comes from. So number one, don't downplay the problem. Don't pretend that it could be worse, even if it could. If you're struggling for motivation to lose weight, don't say to yourself, I will be able to fix it soon. Write down 5 to 10, and I say write down, I mean write down. Don't think. I think it's more powerful if you write it down. 5 to 10 reasons why being overweight is affecting your life, whether that's your energy for your job, for your kids, you're worried about your health, your wife's worried about your health. Write down 5 to 10 things that you dislike or what possibly could happen in the near future. Take some photographs of yourself. My clients, when clients send me their photographs, they're already invested. They've already paid me, so they're already in the program. And then they'll say, I was already motivated, but taking those photographs for you, Phil, was horrible. So there's the first reason why I think men aren't motivated. They don't see being overweight as a problem yet. Possible reason number 2 for why men aren't motivated. They dread the solution. The idea in their minds of what it's going to take to lose weight is too much. It's overwhelming. It's scary. It's boring. So you say to yourself, right, I need to lose weight. And then your immediate thought is, but that is going to mean I need to fill in the blank, cut out carbs, be hungry all the time, not have a social life, go running, do cardio that I hate. Any number of things that you might believe, which often is not true, but in your mind, you are making the problem, the solution to the problem, 100 times worse than it probably is. How can you be motivated to do something when you know that what you need to do is going to be torturous? I've spoken to men on the phone many times who have done diets that are like, one guy did the diet. I can't remember the name of the diet now. So it's quite a popular one because he's not the only one that said it. And it involved I think he was doing 3 days a week of fasting, complete fasting. I think maybe just water. And he was like, I was so kind of dizzy from those fasting days. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to go to work because I wasn't able to drive. It sounds like such a ludicrous example, but it's something that he said to me. He'd managed to lose a little bit of weight, but was getting to the point when he couldn't carry on. I would imagine if he stopped doing what he was doing before, like I helped him, the idea of going back to it would have been horrible. The fix for this is really simple. It's to learn I say this to clients quite a lot. Possibly the best thing you can do for losing weight and getting in shape is to forget everything you've ever been fucking taught about it, or forget everything you think you know about it. Forget all the fads you've read. Forget all the things you read in the 80s and the 90s about certain diets. Possibly ignore everything you see on TikTok. Possibly ignore what I say. Start again and then relearn what actually is important. One of the things I think men do wrong, especially men over 40, is they will follow diets and training plans which are probably more designed for people further along the journey, if not professional athletes. So they're very strict. They might have to suffer more hunger than they would have done. They may be in the gym too often. And that in their head, when they think about doing it, they think, God. Possibly they might think to themselves, even if I wanted to do it, how am I supposed to find the time to do it? How am I supposed to find the time to go to the gym 6 days a week for 2 hours when I've got kids and a business? How am I supposed to always eat clean and always maybe possibly be uber strict with my macros and my calories when half of my week I'm eating out, I'm meeting with clients. One of my current clients is doing really well. He's lost quite a lot of weight. He's looking great, but he travels for work on average for 2 weeks of every month. This month has been 3 weeks, I think, almost. So at least half of his life is on planes, in hotels, meeting with clients and coming home. Before he started working with me, that was what he was kind of going one step forward, one step back. So if he was still trying, but if in his mind he was saying to himself, well, there's no point doing it, it's too hard, why would you be motivated to do it? You're not going to be motivated to do something that you dread unless the consequences are real high. Like when I was first diagnosed with colitis, and it was really bad, and it was getting to the point when the medication wasn't working, and I'd see my nan, and they would have like the bag, part of the bowel removed. When I had that colitis flare up and they were talking about surgery removing my bowel, I followed a diet that was horrendous. I followed it for over a year, but the consequences of not doing that were the stakes were very high. That gave me incredible motivation. For most men, your motivation is going to be, I want to look good, I want to have the energy, I want to feel great. But you're not going to do something like the diet I did for my colitis. So you can't believe that diets have to be torturous. You can't believe that training has to be done 7 days a week. You can't believe all these things, because if you believe those things are the case, then it's going to be very, very hard to motivate yourself. And I think this is where the problem comes. You have two of these things. You play down the problem. Oh, it could be worse. I'll lose weight next year. I'm not that old. I'll do it at another time. So you play down the problem, and then you make the solution really fucking horrible. I've got to go to the gym every day. I'm going to be starving. I've got to cut out all my carbs. I'm probably not going to be able to go and hang out with my friends. So there's a situation where you're like, well, I don't really need to do it, and what I need to do is horrible. No wonder you're not motivated to do it. Like, no wonder. That's what we have to switch. We have to make it like, this is a problem that needs to be fixed now, because if I don't, I might die. My kids might grow up overweight. I'm missing out on quality time. Whatever the problem is, I have to fix this now. And the solution, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's easy, but the solution isn't as bad as I thought. I don't have to do a low carb diet. I don't have to be out in the street running at 5 a.m. I don't have to say no to everyone when I go for social events. So all of a sudden the balance shifts, where it's like, I need to do it. I'm motivated, and the solution isn't as bad. Motivation increases. And then I think the third reason why a lot of men aren't motivated to try and lose weight is a history of failure. Obviously, I work with men who are in their 40s, 50s, and I've got some guys that are in their mid-60s. Most of them, a lot of them, have been overweight. A lot of them have been overweight for much of their lives. They finish university, they go into having careers and businesses, and they have kids. Gradually, they gain weight, and over that period of time, they've tried to lose weight. It's not like, it's very rare that they woke up on their 60th birthday and went, I need to fix this now. I have had that once. I had a guy come to me at 17. He was like, I've been overweight for years. I've not even tried since I was young. I've never tried. And he did really well. That's typically not the case. For the men I work with, have probably tried many times, and they failed many times. And, well, that's not very motivating. If you keep failing something, the motivation is obviously going to go down. So you have a combination of all those three things for most of you. It's not much of a problem. Fixing the problem is going to be torturous, and I fail anyway. What's the fucking point? There's the motivation gone. How do we fix that? Well, really simple. We write down reasons why you should lose weight. One of my clients recently, I told you, I've said a few times already. Obviously haven't named him, but his best friend died at, I think he was 43 or 44. That is an eye-opener. Your best friend, who is just like you, has kids like you, has the same job as you, I believe. That person is like you, just died at 43, 44. You could be next. Well, there's an eye-opener. That's a real example. Every single man that's overweight has a reason for not wanting to be overweight. I can't imagine anyone that is overweight goes to bed at night and thinks this is great. There's something that's eating away at you. There's some reason for you to want to do it. Write it down and be honest about it. Don't sweep it under the rug and say to yourself, yeah, I'll do it another time. It could be worse. I'm not, so-and-so is more fatter than me. So do that first. Number 2, learn more about nutrition. Forget everything you know or forget everything you don't know. And if you have been struggling for a while, hire a coach. Find someone who's good, who has a history of helping people like you, men with kids and jobs and are busy. Find someone who can help you so they can teach you how to do it in a way that is less torturous. Of course, I'm not going to say it's easy, but find someone that can show you a way to do it that makes it as simple as possible. And then obviously, the third point is if you do those two, if you do find someone that helps you how to do it, or you do learn how to do it properly, and by that I mean you don't follow fads, you don't go too extreme, maybe you lower your expectations, you understand how to do the process properly, you will start to see success over the weeks. And as you build up, as you lose weight, as you start to make progress, your motivation will rise. Some of my best clients have come into my program. I wonder if I've got a photograph. I can't put it on TikTok, but on LinkedIn and YouTube, have I got any photographs? Not of anyone's. Anyway, the point was going to be is some of my best clients in their form have said to me, I've been putting this off for many years. I just don't have the motivation to do it. They're like a different person in like 2 or 3 weeks. And I think the reason that they are more motivated after that time is they're in a community where other guys are inspiring them. So they see that other men like them are being successful. So although they have failed in the past, they are now saying to themselves, well, if all these fuckers can do it, if all these men can do it who are just like me, I can do it. They get a plan that is not as torturous. They get a plan that they think to themselves, right, this isn't going to be easy per se, but I could do this. I can follow these calories. Phil says I can have maybe a day on the week where I can have a meal that's free. I don't have to cut the beer out completely. Okay, this is okay. Okay, I don't have to go cycling or running. I could do this. Start to hit personal best in the gym. Learn how to do it. Don't get injured. The training starts to become fun. All of a sudden, they're like, okay, this is actually quite good. And dare I say it, a lot of the guys that I work with do a complete 180. They go from not being motivated to being like, I couldn't go to the gym tonight and I'm pissed off. I've missed it, which is where you want people to be. I can't say that every person will learn to love the gym, but for the most part, the guys enjoy it. Or at the very least, this is important, you will enjoy the benefits. It's like sometimes my missus moans about her job. She'll kill me for saying this, but she works, long hours, but she gets paid well. And I say to her, well, for the hours you've done this week, for that, I know it's hard work, but you made more than what a lot of people make in this week in a whole month. And I'm like, it's worth it. My point is to her, it's worth doing this job. It could be worse. I always say jokingly, you could be fucking stacking shelves at Asda. No disrespect, but to people that do that, but you could be doing that. And then you could be getting paid less. It's the same with fitness. For most of the guys I work with, they either start to enjoy it or they at least say to themselves, I can tolerate this exercise. It isn't too bad. This diet is cool. I'm having some foods that I like. But the best thing is I look in the mirror. I feel great. My clothes are starting to fit. I've had to buy some new clothes. My kids are starting to look up to me like a superhero. I can play football with my son or daughter. I can do all these things now that I'm fit. And those things massively outweigh controlling calories and missing out on the odd beer. Come on, let's be brutally honest. What you get from losing weight and getting in shape and being healthy far outweighs having an extra slice of pizza or two or lounging on the sofa, or it should do. But that goes back to what I said about, the motivation being coming from what you want to achieve and what you're trying to, either what you're trying to get to or what you're trying to run away from. I think if you fix these 3 things, motivation doesn't become a problem. I will finish this by saying that a lot of people will say stuff like motivation is bullshit. I agree. At some point, you have to learn to be disciplined. So in other words, you don't wake up in the morning and go, I don't feel like going to the gym. I won't go. you wake up and just do it anyway. But every time someone says something on my videos or does a comment or does a video where they're like, motivation is bullshit, you just need to be disciplined. Discipline doesn't come overnight. You don't suddenly just wake up one day with discipline. It's kind of something you build. So from day 0 to the day that you have discipline, there's this little area where motivation is important, accountability is important, having somebody give you a kick up the butt of it is important. At some point, from day 0 to some point in the near future, there'll be a combination of I've built habits, I'm enjoying the results, I enjoy what I'm doing, it's not torturous, there is no reason for me to ever stop this. And there will be days where you think, fuck it, I can't be bothered to do it. I have those days, you will have those days, but you will just get up and do it. And that's where the discipline comes. Hopefully that is helpful. Paul, you came on. You've put great stuff, Phil. Top advice, and the plan works. Paul is one of my clients. You came on. I was, damn puppy. You came on. I just was talking about you. I was saying that you obviously are a guy that travels. You know, roughly half of your life is in hotels and and on planes. And you've done a great job of finding a plan that works. That is what makes it more motivational for you, I would believe. Right, there's the reasons why you're not motivated. For those of you on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, if you are looking for help with any of this, I can't help everyone, so we'll see. If you would like to possibly see if I can help you because you are struggling to get in shape, you've struggled for many years, you're thinking like nothing works for you, or you're too busy, you're too old. I have plenty of clients that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that prove that wrong. They're all busy with kids, jobs, etc. So send me a message if you want to chat about possible coaching. On TikTok, you can do the same. You'll have to follow me, or there's just a link in the bio and you can just apply. We can have a chat. And if it looks like I can help you, you can go from there. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully that's been helpful. If you're struggling with motivation, watch this back. Do those 3 things that I said. Fix the problem, and motivation won't be hopefully a problem in the future. All right. See you later.